Recently, a high school friend of mine sadly endured the death of his son due to addiction. His sad posts about this tragedy and the reality of we did everything we could to help him were compelling. I can only imagine the heartache of losing a son. At the time, I thought about a video on this topic, but I did not feel it was appropriate. Today, I feel that enough time has passed, and now with the holiday season approaching, it is time to talk about addiction. For me personally, my addiction was alcohol. Don Johnson and I have something in common: the battle with the bottle. For years, I denied the obvious until I hit my bottom. Or was it my bottom? My bottom, if you will, at the time really reduced me to a cup of coffee at Barnes & Noble, a pen, and a pad of paper. Ascension would never have been created on that pad of paper if I hadn't done what I did to be reduced to such humble means, egotistically speaking. I've been to rehab 2 times, which I found personally enjoyable. But no matter whether I followed their advice, was canceled, and went to AA meetings, nothing clicked long enough for me to get clear on what the internal and external issue that led me to drink was, until I finally realized that I drank because I was bored and lonely. I needed something bigger than myself. That is how Ascension came to be. Back then, I had no real idea what I was doing, but one day at a time, with consistency and diligence, I kept at it and dreamed for better days. 15 years later, here we are. Addiction has many faces, but my experience is that in addiction, the problem is not me versus you, although it can be. It really is me versus me. And I just want you to know this is a very emotional topic for me. The irritation of the egotistical energy of survival is very confusing and exhausting. Giving up and looking to chemicals was not the real issue here, or at least it wasn't for me. You must find something outside of yourself that is bigger than you. If you do not, you will cycle and circle to oblivion in your addiction, whatever your addiction is. Addiction has many faces like food, sex, drugs, alcohol, exercise, drama if you are cunning, and your own bodily chemicals from an egotistical high associated with an egotistical win. My father was a car salesman, and I want to be clear about something. I did love my father. I do love my father. He used to come home from work in a great mood, pumping his fist in celebration after a sale with vigor. I buried him, he'd say. All I knew was that he was excited to make a great commission, and that it came at the expense of another, that he was in a good mood, and that I was safe from the belt. For me, my best friend alcohol was agonizing. I'm trying to be funny right here, but my buddy Weiser, John and Jim, like George Thorogood sings about, and I drink alone, was the ritual. And being a functional drinker took so much effort during the day, and that I was back at it at night. The thing that saved me besides God, which was the most important thing, was to remain functional until I found my purpose and ultimately my vision of heaven on earth. Once this occurred, my addiction to alcohol ceased. I had to get out of myself, egotistically speaking, to see my purpose and get on my path in fulfillment of my purpose and give my gift. The cycle and circle was and were and is me versus me. Breaking the cycle and circle was not easy, but here we are. The result of my gift was my first and is my first book, Ascension, Book 1, Me versus You. My definition of ascension is to aspire beyond the egotistical survival energy of significance or insignificance as it relates to difference or indifference, or more simply stated, me versus you. Those are your vectors. When you aspire beyond the energy of me versus you, you find the energy of me and you, which is of essence and effervescence. It is from this perspective of life that the 10 Commandments are no longer lofty. Like easing into a warm bath, they just feel good. To learn more and how to break the cycle and circle of addiction, get your own copy of Ascension, Book 1, Me versus You, by going to iuniverse.com or copy and paste into your browser from the description portion of this YouTube video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.